Hello, all my beasties. Welcome to the lair. How's everybody doing? How's everybody? Hi, Muffin. Hi, Sandy. Sandy, you're more on time than I am. Muffin, do you mean the smoke from Canada? I'm not in New York. I'm in PA, and I'm far enough south that it's not really problematic. Hey, Sod, how are you, darling? How are you, darling? Sandy, I am happy to have you. I cherish you and value you as a member of our community. We love having you here. So, how was your date after I saw you earlier, Sandy? Sod, how are you? You settled? Haven't gotten to talk to anybody much this week. 'Tis been a long, long week. Gonna be a long few days. Hey, Jerry, how are you? Congratulations on your daughter's graduating. I saw the beautiful pictures. Lucky for her, she looks like her mom. I'm just kidding. You know that. You know I love you. Still gotta tease you. You're playing games with Croc and Patty. Sounds like fun. I was not. I was managing mischief and miniature versions of myself, trying to find creative ways to take what little sanity I have. The littlest one being the biggest challenge. So, that was 7 years ago. It was a Facebook memory. It didn't show as a Facebook memory, it just showed as like a picture. It didn't say that it was a memory. It wasn't like, 7 years ago today, which sometimes it does. It just, or 6, it just showed, it just showed like the picture, didn't say much about it. So, Jerry, math is hard. I can do calculus and trig and all of that stuff, but if you ask me to do common core math, I'm screwed. Hey, well, Call, how are you, sweetheart? Yeah, Sandy, kids are a blessing and a challenge, and very worth it. Lord knows, my children. My father got his wish that he, before he died, that parental curse of I hope you have a daughter just like you one day. So he got his wish. Yeah, yeah, well, Call, just, this afternoon caught me off guard because they weren't supposed to be like starting opening for another 2 days. But I guess they seated the jury early. So they kicked it off early. So I was on my way home from kindergarten graduation when Croc grabbed me. And then, had to toss everything up and, get all of that going. And then I have an appointment with a surgeon tomorrow. So Croc's going to hold down the fort for a little bit for me tomorrow while I'm at the surgeon. Because I have to go see the neurosurgeon tomorrow. But, yeah, my dad got his wish of, I hope you have a daughter just like you one day. Sandy, what do you mean about the kerfluffle? I don't know what you're apologizing for, Sandy, sweetheart.
She missed a chunk of your rant earlier today. The one at the end. And was thinking she might have been at least partially responsible for it. No.
Oh no, you Sandy, you were in no way a problem or part of it.
The kerfuffle.
I will say right now, I have absolutely no issue with you guys being like, hey, did you see what he did? Or like, hey, he's doing this. I don't care. What pissed me off was the member of the audience who kept commenting on how funny the singing was. Sandy, don't worry, sweetheart. I've got it. You don't need to stop it. You don't need to be on edge. I've got it. I'm a big girl. I will address it and handle it head on. And in all honesty, I would rather you guys not, because it is easier to have somebody be mad at me than it is for someone to turn against, argue with you guys. I have no problem with people pointing out what he's doing or being like, oh my God, do you see the fuckery? I don't take an issue with that. I took issue when the person was like, ha ha, this is so funny. Oh my God. Jerry, it really was not that much drama. I just, the thing is, I have trying to think of the best way to explain this. And bear with me, because it's going to sound strange for a second, but you'll understand. I have less of an issue listening to an active shooter and going and dealing with all of that than I do something like the Letitia Stout trial, right? One is, they're not the same to me, right? And we all have tolerance levels to different things. Now, with like the Letitia Stout case, with her fucking around and Letitia the stupid, That pissed me off because she was guilty of the crime and just a horrible human. My issue with this case is that you took an oath to protect children. You specifically went through the school resource officer certification to protect children. And then, like a coward, you sat outside until a dad who volunteers for groundskeeper duty, who goes and gets a spare vest and gun out of a friend's car and mans up, gets involved. And I take a bigger issue because you, as the school resource officer, took an oath to uphold and protect and swear to the state that you're going to do everything to keep someone's children safe, right? And he, and the off-duty guy that was taking care of the lawns, like, yeah, I'm trained to run into it, not run away. But the asshole that's on trial isn't just an asshole. He took the same oath that I did about running into it. So I have more of an issue with him than I do Letitia, Lori, any of those idiots. Because you were entrusted with children's lives. Parents send their kids to school and you think your child's going to be safe. And then the worst happens and you run around like an idiot and hide like a coward. So I take more of an issue with that, right? So for somebody to sit there and sing and play Zelda and be jovial or whatever is disrespectful to me. And you got to hear Micro. And, when I asked Micro, what do you do? What did she say? Pick up a book of the hardest thing I can find and throw it. You guys were able to see in the one video that Minnie has been trained and he can disarm an adult. My children and their friends are always very well prepared and trained and know to stay calm and what to do and how to act. Right? So for that teacher to be up there like, I was listening and I was trying to mentally prepare myself as the adult. Like, no, there's no preparing yourself. if you have to stop me, like, well, we didn't have an active shooter drill. I didn't know what to do, and it was loud, and that you don't need an active shooter drill. It is your job to protect those children like they are yours. And I can guarantee you, every call I have ever been on, I protected those children like they were my own. You know, my father used to always say that I was stupid because I had no self-preservation instinct, but, he was incredibly proud of me for it. It was kind of always the joke. But, again, you heard Micro, and I said to her, what happens if a bad man shows up at your school? Brock, what was her answer?
Pick up the nearest heavy object, throw it.
Yep. Find the biggest thing I can pick up and throw. It is, I have ingrained in them and their friends that, and like I said, I teach these classes nationwide. And not to be like, oh my God, I'm so great, I'm the best. But, they're generally better received coming from me because I'm female. I'm less scary to kids, right? In theory. So, I'm a mom. I'm not some big scary guy. I'm just like their mom. I am, in little kids' minds. And yeah, if you can get away, by all means, run away. But statistically, that's not going to be an option, especially in an incident like Parkland. You turned yourself and all those children into sitting ducks. You put them all in a closet or huddled up. Jerry, I understand Warren versus DC and Gonzalez versus Castle Rock, but it is a different situation because it becomes an in loco parentis situation, for one. For two, it is not just an in loco parentis issue. You swear an oath when you get your badge. And true, Danny, that's exactly what I said. And you heard Micro's answer. What do you do? And she said, pick up the biggest thing I can and throw it. When I don't care if it's a bunch of kindergartners. If you have 10 little kids hurling shit at you, they throw hard. And it is incredibly disorienting. And, my mini and my micro, as we have all seen on video, can disarm an adult. They will both tell you what they're supposed to do, which is give you the heaviest thing I can pick up and heave at your head. And let me tell you, her brother will attest that she has an anger management problem many days. And the last thing you want is her chucking something at you.
Because that will hurt a lot.
Not only does that hurt a lot, she literally she wears a t-shirt that says, "Behold the fallow field I grow my fox."
Okay. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. You know, Jerry, the thing is, they don't technically have a duty, and I've taken the same oath to protect the general public. But when you're a school resource officer, it is your job to protect children. And if you cannot run into gunfire because you're that much of a bitch, hand over your badge and your gun to somebody that has the balls to do it. Middle son is 5'7" at 40, but dangerous, and a deputy sheriff. Yeah, Sandy, she's 3'1" and 30-something pounds. And she will swing a textbook at your head with no issues. 0 fucks to be given. The child will swing books, fists. She will break bones. She doesn't care. You know. And you know, your son is 5'7" at 40. I'm 5'11", but a size 00. And I am probably the last person you want to see staring you down if you were on the opposite side from me. Because like I've said about my beasties many times, harm somebody I love, and there is no place on heaven, on earth, or in hell that you will be safe from my wrath. No one. But Sandy, you know what the funny thing is? Almost all Marines are under 5'9", 5'10". Very few Marines are tall. Very few Navy SEALs or Special Forces guys are tall. The taller you are, the harder it is to do things like pull-ups. You have more distance to cover. So, yeah, height isn't everything. Heart is everything. I know females that are, 4'11" that will kick the shit out of somebody. Some of you have heard the story, some of you have not. My brother is a very large man, and is 6'9", and I know Crocs heard this one and laughs about it all the time. And my brother is 16 years older than I am, right?
Yep.
And he was supposed to be babysitting me. And my dad came home to find my brother with a broken wrist and a fat lip, and me with a split lip, and I was 6, and my brother was 22. And we both went to the emergency room, and the ER doctor looked at both of us, and thank God it was the 1980s and they weren't going to call CPS for stuff. And the ER doc said, "What happened?" And my brother said, "She happened." My dad looked at the ER doctor, and his exact words were, "I always wanted a son. I didn't realize I was going to have to wait for my second daughter to be born to get one."
Oh, ow.
So,
wow.
Hey, Iris, my love. Yeah, my brother, his varsity letterman was for band. Because band. I was a 3-season varsity letterman in football and 4-year letterman in ice hockey. So, yeah. My dad was highly amused. My brother, not so much. And my dad told everybody and anybody he could find that the reason his 22-year-old son was in a cast was because the 6-year-old beat him up. So, hey.
My question, of course, is what did he do to piss off the Loki? Which I think is a valid question.
He turned off Fraggle Rock.
Oh. Wow. Rude.
And actually, I don't remember if it was Fraggle Rock or Fern Gully.
I'm not sure it matters at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. He wanted to watch something else, and I said no. And he, being 6'9", used to hold things above my head, and because he could hold them out of reach. So it wasn't really all that hard for me to figure out that, yeah, you can hold me at arm's length, but if I just duck down and go for your waist, I win. You can't hold me out at arm's length. So he would hold me out at arm's length, and I would just collapse to the ground and go, head first for his crotch and drop him.
Which is not good for him.
Doesn't matter. His first ex-wife still has his nuts in a jar somewhere. I never did find him the day I searched the house for them. I don't think she ever forgave me for asking her for the jar. Oh no, Sandy, I didn't bite anything. I would just put my head down and just headbutt him square in the crotch.
Yeah, well.
And now I get to say that I'm friends with the guy that designed the Fraggles, being Kirk and then not the mama dinosaur. But yes, my dad had to explain to an emergency room that the, little tiny 6-year-old beat up the 6'9", 22-year-old and broke his wrist. Mm-hmm. He hasn't lived it down.
Why would he live it down? Why would you let him?
Dance scares away. Worries for another day. Let the music play. Down the Fraggle Rock.
Rock. Yep.
Sod, it's a bunch of cracked out meth addict Muppets.
Yes, they're Muppets.
Yeah, I know. My friend Kirk made them when he still worked for Henson. Yeah, and Fern Gully was for, eco, I don't know what the hell, but I didn't care. I was watching what I wanted to watch, and I didn't want to watch some nerdy ass show that he wanted to watch. And he changed the channel and said, if you have a problem with it, come get the remote. Okay.
Challenge accepted.
Okay.
The Loki was all over that. I never issue a challenge to the Loki.
That's why I ended up with a broken wrist. My dad, everybody will tell you they're more scared of Micro Loki. She's vicious. My Micro, I mean, you heard my Micro, where she declared that if someone comes into her classroom, she's going to find a book and beat them.
Yes, she said this.
Because we don't promote sitting ducks. We don't promote hide and wait for somebody to come rescue you. You are not, and I quote, a damsel in a dress. Which was a whole other issue. I don't think I got to tell you this, Croc. One of the first group Halloween costumes when she was little, Minnie wanted them to all dress up, and so she was a princess, and one of my friends kid was, a dragon. Someone else's kid was, all that stuff. And he dressed as a knight, and she was dressed as a princess. And if you asked what she was, he told everybody she was a dandel in a dress. And I said, you mean a damsel in distress, not a dandel in a dress.
I'm not even sure what a dandel is supposed to be.
Dandel.
Dandel.
A dandel in a dress. I said, I think you mean a damsel in distress.
Well, I know what he meant.
Which would be the last thing that she is. You gonna be in distress, not her.
I keep telling you, I feel bad for whoever it is that winds up with her at the end.
I feel bad for whoever tries to date
that's
Minnie.
Oh, jeez.
Not Micro. Whoever wants to date Minnie is gonna have to go through Micro.
Well, there is that.
And, people are rude to him, and she's on a table fighting 5th graders. I still love that. Your daughter was standing on the table getting into a fight with a 5th grader.
And
Well, don't pick a fight with a kindergartner. Tell your 5th grader not to pick a fight with a kindergartner. And then don't bitch when she has to climb onto a table to see them face to face and then kick their ass. Because they're not going to live down being 12 and getting beat up by a 5-year-old girl. Trust me. My brother turned 53 this year. So it's been 40.
He's still a huge dick.
It's been, 40 years. Let's see. I'll be 39. So it's been like 32 years and he still hasn't lived down getting his ass kicked by a 6-year-old. Nor will he ever. But, that's why
in his grave, and someone's going to go inscribe that situation on his tombstone.
I would tattoo it across his forehead if I was allowed to. We all know how much I like him. Just so you know, in the state of Pennsylvania, you can sit on the hood of a car across the street from somebody's house and play things over a PA system and not be trespassing or harassing, as long as it's not out of noise ordinance hours. There's nothing they can do about it. Not that I would know.
No, of course not. But your sister's figured it out by now, though.
No, my brother and his ex-wife. Hi, Jujubee. Yeah, I used to sit there across the street from his now, well, it's not his ex-wife's house, and like play random ass things over the PA system. The minute the municipal noise ordinance was over time-wise, which was like 8 a.m. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell people. I do like to point out to people that, like, someone called me a petty bitch earlier today. I got a rude message after my yelling. It wasn't yelling. It was my explaining that you're not going to come up on my channel with fuckery when there is, yes, Jujubee, that's all you got to know, the local ordinance. But that I was not going to tolerate fuckery on my channel when it involves children and someone who claims to be a cop who doesn't have a set of balls big enough to do his job. I was not going to listen to fuckery, nor did I, frankly, want to hear about some little brat in Texas singing and playing Zelda while covering a school shooter. And I got called several names. And I was like, if you think this is the first time I've been called those names, I think it's the last time I'm going to be called those names. If you think I care, you are sorely mistaken. Because I do not. Danny, I don't have to. My child calls everybody fucker because it's gender neutral. I don't need.
Well,
I have done my job.
yeah.
I have done my job well.
Yes, because child of brain in head.
What can I say? Jujubee, it's not sticks and stones in my case. In my case, it was somebody yelled at my 5-year-old that she wasn't using gender neutral they them pronouns for a second grader, and she doesn't know she doesn't understand the they them pronoun. I don't think she knows what a pronoun is in
Well,
kindergarten.
from the sounds of things, she barely had a grasp of I.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky most kindergartners aren't speaking in the third person all the time. So the only word she could think of that you could use for a boy or a girl was fucker. So her answer was, okay, Jen, I just call everybody fucker. Because it doesn't matter if you boy or girl. It's still fucker. So,
Yep.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets called fucker now. Because we just turned 6 and we have decided that that's the amount of petty we are going to be.
Well, duh.
I have a t-shirt that says Queen of Petty, and she has one that says Princess Petty. And I said, yeah, my job is OSHA. Like literally by definition,
Petty.
I have to be a petty person because it's my job to walk around and be like, it's not that's 4 3/4 inches. Your toe board needs to be 6 inches. Yeah, Jujubee, we're putting it on a t-shirt with merch. Since, everybody was amused with the fact that she calls everybody fucker. Including we have several trans family members. Everybody is fucker to her. Now that she can read, if she sees like at Starbucks an apron with your pronouns, it says they, them, she just calls you fucker. So, whatever.
It works. You might not like it, but it works.
I mean, Danny, yeah, she's gonna throw it, and you got to remember, I've already gotten some clapback for and angry responses from people from earlier that I let her talk. But here's the thing. I know lots of people are covering this trial or cover these trials on YouTube. I have worked 2 of them now. You heard those calls from Parkland if you listened to my coverage earlier. And then I pulled up my own radio traffic from the school stabbing. There was no yelling. I don't think my voice deviated much from where it is now. Did it, Croc?
Yep. No, actually, no. Sorry. No, not really. Actually, technically, yes, because there's a tone that we tend to get when we're dealing with that type of profile.
Yeah, I mean, I have a different tone to my voice, but I'm not like screaming or yelling or hyperventilating
No, but that
or
does you no good whatsoever.
um, any of that. I maintain my decorum, and I have taught them, and she knows that you do not count on anybody to rescue you. You rescue yourself.
But also, there are instances where that might not be possible.
Which is true, but statistically, if you're in a classroom during an active shooter,
Oh, there's plenty of ways to get yourself out of it then.
if there is an active shooter situation, I would rather, if there's an active shooter, Croc, you and I have both been in bad positions
Yes.
that we're not going to elaborate on. Well, I mean, everyone knows mine, but I would rather have a closet full of sitting ducks than face a room of 25 6-year-old hurling books and toys at me. Because what way are you going to turn? You have a bunch of
Don't bother
angry
looking to
little
your left. You
ankle
will not find it
biters.
there.
What?
Don't bother looking to your left. You will not find it there.
You have a bunch of angry little ankle biters.
And yes, ankle biters know how.
Uh, I remember. Oh God, she's gonna hate me for telling people this, and then we're gonna get into the 6-year-old thing. Um, Croc, you're gonna die. I don't think you've heard about this. So, before she took her first Krav Maga class, because she does Krav with me, um, you know, we hadn't even taken Krav yet, and we walked in. We're all we're sitting there, we're stretching, and the instructor goes, it was Krav for Kids that she was at, and I was helping the instructor out because it's like herding cats when you have a bunch of 4 and 5-year-olds, literally like herding cats.
That's when you turn a gerbil loose and watch the fur fly.
Um, and he said he was going around the room to see what kid knew what. And he goes, well, what do you do if somebody tries to take you? And she goes, well, I start biting and I swing my arms and I kick my legs and I scream and I act like a windmill and I wiggle and I'm very hard to hold until they have to drop me. And he goes, well, then what are you going to do if they drop you? And she goes, I'm going to go over, grab them by the ding ding, pull, and twist as hard as I can. I'm going to pull and twist and kick them in the ding ding.
That assumes that the individual in question has one, but okay.
And he just looked at me and goes, did she just say she can grab him by the balls and rip them off? I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I don't know. There was other kids like, I'm going to kick them in the ding ding. She's like, no, you don't kick them. Grab, pull, and twist. The instructor looked at me. He's like, remind me not to come to your house. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. My girl knows what to do. I was just dying.
And he was and he was trying to avoid eye contact and cringing.
No, he was laughing hysterically because he was one of my partners on the SWAT team.
So he already knew what she was about.
She's been that way since she was 2.
Eee.
She will bite, kick, scream, yell, swing. She knows. And yes, I had a room full of flying objects. Okay, children, tell me why the dead bad man's full of bullet holes. Yup. Because the angry little ankle biters.
Don't take it back. You're right.
The angry little ankle biters are more of a problem. And they don't stay stationary. And you put somebody through the mass pandemonium of a room full of preschool or kindergartners. And may the odds be ever in their favor. Especially if she's watching Frozen and you turn off Anna and Elsa. Or whatever princess movie she is watching. Because ain't nobody gonna save you then. You take away her princess movie? Woo!
That's somebody's favorite movie. Uh-oh.
She likes that and Moana because she doesn't need a boy. Ain't no boy need and Encanto. I not need a boy to save me. I save myself. Okay, Lord Sassy Ass. My standard answer. But speaking of Lord Sassy Ass, let me find my mouse, and we're going to cover a couple things tonight, and then we're going to go to bed. So I have enough of a voice tomorrow because we have trial stream all day. So, but hey, and I did, you'll be proud, guys. I bought an industrial sized bag of cough drops.
Or if they did, they didn't get one.
Hold on one second. Industrial sized bag of Halls.
Paranoia if they actually
How about this? About him.
Chihuahuas are rats.
I called her an ankle biter. So, okay. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at this and then we're going to discuss, guys. So, Deja Taylor, the mother of the 6-year-old who shot the teacher in Virginia, to face new federal gun charges. Uh-oh.
That's not a good day.
I'm going to read this. We're going to talk about this. The mother of the 6-year-old boy who shot his first-grade teacher in Virginia earlier this year will plead guilty to new federal charges relating to her owning the gun the boy used. Deja Taylor was charged in federal court on Monday with illegally using drugs while owning a firearm, making a false statement when she purchased the gun, claiming she was not an unlawful drug user despite using marijuana. Court records show she will plead guilty to the charges, her attorney has said. Taylor's son, who has not been identified, shot first grade teacher Abigail Zorner on January 6 at Rich Neck Elementary, Newport News. The city of about 185,000 residents knows for its ties to shipbuilding for the Navy. Authorities have said the boy used his mother's gun and shot Zorner as she was reading to students in her classroom. She was shot in the hand and chest and has filed a $40 million lawsuit against the school district alleging gross negligence. The district was warned repeatedly on the day of the shooting that the boy might have a gun, the suit alleges. While prosecutors have said that child would not face any charges, his mother was arrested in April and charged in state court with felony child neglect, recklessly leaving a loaded firearm so as to endanger a child, a misdemeanor. Pleased to be entered next week. Ellenson said in a statement that Taylor's legal team will present mitigating evidence they hope be taken into consideration during sentencing. Prosecutors for the federal charges filed Monday declined to comment. Ellenson said he had very constructive negotiations with federal authorities about the plea. The pleas will be entered June 12th. Ellenson said the shooting was a tragedy for all involved, especially Warner, who we wish a complete recovery. It's a Shakespearean tragedy, a perfect storm that has had horrible consequences. A vulnerable teacher whose life was almost taken, a boy 6 years of age, and a mother whose life will never be the same. Taylor's previously said she accepts responsibility for her son's actions. She told Good Morning America last month she couldn't explain how the boy got a hold of her gun, which her lawyers have said was secured with a trigger light and stored high on a shelf in her closet with a trigger lock. I am, as a parent, obviously willing to take responsibility for him. He cannot take responsibility, she said. Her son has ADHD. Warner's lawsuit said the boy has a history of behavioral challenges and violence toward teachers, including a previous incident where he choked a teacher. Family of the boy previously said he was usually accompanied to class by a parent as part of a care plan with the school, but that week of the shooting was the first week no one accompanied him because his behavior had improved due to medications. School district has said in response to her lawsuit that her injuries fall under the state workers' comp. Now, there are several parts to this that we can talk about. So, first and foremost, I have gotten a lot of questions about this, right? Mom is facing federal gun charges for perjury. And they're not just minor gun charges. They are some very serious charges from ATF. The problem is in Virginia, and this is something we're going to get deeper into on the channel. With marijuana becoming recreationally legal in many states, this is a very big problem, and we are going to deep dive it one day when I don't have to trial stream for a week and a half. When you fill out that federal form, it asks if you are addicted to or use, or a chronic user, a habitual user, addicted to, or do you partake in the use of drugs and here is where she is getting nailed. Any federally illegal substance. And those are where the problems lie. She said no. Marijuana, while it may be legal in the state you live in, Colorado, as are shrooms. And in many states now, where marijuana is recreationally legal, you need to remember it is still a federally banned substance. Those forms ask about federally illegal substances. By answering no, you are committing perjury to the ATF on a federal firearms form. It will get you in more trouble than you know what to do. And that isn't even the rabbit hole that we are going to go down in the next few weeks over states where it's recreational versus medicinal versus carry permit versus all of this. You need to remember when you buy a firearm in any state, and the first person that says something about a gun show loophole, I'm going to kick in the ding ding in the words of my child. It asks about federally illegal substances. So, if you use marijuana in a state where it is legal recreationally or legal medicinally, you need to declare it on that form. If you do not, and something happens, just like in this situation, you are being charged with lying to the ATF. Any questions? Brock? Comments, questions, thoughts? My peoples? 2 cents? Anybody? Jerry, what about prescribed Schedule 2? Let me pull up the full list. CSA. Here we go. Schedules. Schedule 1, Schedule 1, Schedule 1, Schedule 1. There we go. Schedule 2s. So, just so people understand what I'm being asked, a Schedule 2 drug is a controlled substance that is regulated by the DEA. Schedule 1 drugs, right, have no known medical use at this point. Ocfentanyl, panfluorofuranol fentanyl, lots of analogs to fentanyl and morphine and stuff. There's no current medical use. Schedule 2s, there are, but they are highly addicted and controlled. carfentanil, amphetamines, cocaine, codeine, dihydrocodeine. Now, I will say drobananol, fentanyl, buthiamine, hydrocodone, hydromorphone, levomorphan, isomethone, meperidine. Meperidine is better known as Demerol to a lot of people. Even ADHD drugs like Vyvanse, because they are amphetamine salts. Those are Schedule 2 DEA drugs. You do have to declare them. Sandy, it is not a list question. It is a yes or no checkbox. If your specific state asks, yes, you need to list them out, but you need to declare them. Here is the problem. Depending on the state you are in, you are going to have a very hard time obtaining a firearm. You will be flat out banned in many states. Now, someone asked me, how could Loki, you use drugs? Well, yeah, I have cancer. I do take those drugs. But when I bought a firearm last time, I wrote, yeah, I am prescribed X, Y, and Z under a doctor's care for cancer. And there was no issue. The issues, Sandy, you can't hold what? A concealed carry? Sandy, you're going to have to give me a little bit more than that. But on that list, it doesn't say if you've ever been prescribed. It asks if you are dependent on. It does say in fine print that you can, if you're under a doctor's care and have a valid prescription for those drugs, because they are not federally illegal, you can, in fact, still purchase a firearm. But the mom went, oh, weed's legal in Virginia, and didn't declare it. Well, it doesn't ask if weed's legal in Virginia. They asked you if you use anything federally illegal. And you did. And you lied on that form. Sandy, that is not true. My hands don't work very well either. And I know several people that have severe disability or Parkinson's or other things wrong with their hands, including somebody that is missing the majority of his hand. And there are adaptive technologies and ways that you can still hold and use a firearm. And if that is something you are interested in hearing about or learning about, just let me know and I will put something together and we will talk about it. Because just because conventional firearm use is hard for you That does not mean you cannot use one. Sandy, there are still ways to do it, even with your hands curled into a fist. There are still ways to protect yourself. And so, if that is something you are interested in discussing, I will gladly cover an episode of adaptive technologies and firearms for safety for people like you at home. Yeah, Jerry, because Jerry, with your PIP, you actually would not be able to. They do, PIP is listed as a no-go condition. Okay, Sandy, Sandy, do me a favor and send me an email to remind me, because I have a couple questions to ask you just so I can better target the answer or make sure that my answers are inclusive. I am a big advocate for people that have neurological issues, that are wheelchair bound, that have profound disability. I am a big advocate in them owning a firearm and knowing what to do with it, because as awful as it sounds, and like in my one episode where I say I'm a huge target, when I'm carrying a small child, as a female especially, because I am not overly big. I mean, although that is not a mistake someone's going to ever make more than once. I am a big advocate in you being able to protect yourself in your own home. V. McWilliams, same thing. My dad taught me to fight. My dad, unfortunately, unexpectedly passed away a couple months ago, like all my beasties know, and know how hard it was on me. But you know, even having cancer, I have always been able to protect myself because of my dad. Yeah, you always keep your thumb in so you don't break your thumb. But yeah, Sandy, we will discuss adaptive technologies, because you should not be a target because of your wheelchair. And there are things you can do. Sod and I had a discussion about things he could do to make himself less of a target because he felt unsafe. So, we can gladly go over it. And like I tell everybody, if I am teaching or traveling in your area, I will gladly come teach to your group, your whatever, right? And I have taught mentally differently abled people and disabled people and people with progressive neurological issues how to protect themselves from their wheelchair or at home and not be a target. Because you don't deserve to be a target just because of a wheelchair. So we will work through it, Sandy. We will work through it. Sandy, if I have to come to you, I will come to you personally and you and I will have a one-on-one, and I will teach you how to protect yourself within your personal situation. How's that? I will come to you personally, Sandy, and we will go over how to protect yourself and how to make sure you're safe. You tell me where and when you need me to be there, and we will do it. None of my beasties need to ever worry or feel that they cannot protect themselves. So, the issue with the 6-year-old is going to be Mom is now going to have to plead guilty to federal charges. Not only is Mom being federally charged, Sandy, where are you? Mom is being charged in the state. She did have a trigger lock on the gun. Not a tremendously reliable trigger lock. And just because you have a trigger lock and you put it up and out of reach, Indiana. Sandy, I will actually most likely be out in Indiana in the not too distant future. I have a third interview for a job that would relocate me to Indiana. So, no issues. But no, kiddo, I'm good. I will come out and we will do whatever we need to do so you're safe. But Mom is facing an uphill battle in this case. Jerry, I will announce my road trip and I will plan meetups along the way. I did promise Iris a visit to Texas, and I am going to see Papa, also known as CCW, later this year. So I will be around. But so this mom's now being charged federally and at a state level. And I agree with charging her because the weapon wasn't properly locked and stored. I have a little bit of a bigger issue with the federal charges. Just because a lot of people do not understand the nuance between federally illegal and state-based legality. So, but it is 11 o'clock, and I'm going to go to bed because we're going to get up early. Because Croc 9:30 trial.
They said 9:30, 9:30, 9:45, somewhere in that neighborhood.
I will be online about 9:15 in the morning, guys. Croc, not so much.
Croc may run a little on the late side.
Croc can run on the late side and sleep in.
Well, yeah, something about it's 3 hours earlier here than there.
I know. So.
And it's not the first time we've done that, so.
Yeah, but still, especially since I'm going to need you later tomorrow when I'm at the neurosurgeon.
Well, that's true. I don't know what time that would be though.
Like 1 o'clock my time.
So yeah, about 10 o'clock. Well, yeah, 10 o'clock. That'd be about 10 o'clock here. Which if I haven't been seen by then, yeah, somebody needs to call me.
I will. Yeah, Jerry, the only reason I'm keeping it kind of short tonight is it was a long day today, and I'm trying to preserve as much of my voice since I'm just getting over COVID and pneumonia. So, I love you all. I love all my beasties. All my beasties, sweet dreams. I will see you in the morning while we make fun of this chicken shit guy who thinks he's a man. Love you all.
Well, he's an adult male.
Doesn't make him a man.
Well, true.
My 6-year-old's more of a man than he is.
Oof.
So, I love you all. Everybody stay safe. I'll see you guys in the morning. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye-bye.